Alright, this screencast is going to be a little tight, so I'm going to get right to it. We're solving equations with fractions today, so the goal is to make something like this look a little less scary because they're just fractions, but they can be a little bit complicated to deal with, so we're going to learn how to get rid of them so we can solve things like we've been solving in the last couple days and lessons. Okay, so let's go here. Okay, so to solve an equation involving fractions, we have to multiply both sides of the equation by the LCD to eliminate them. So I'm not going to get too much into this right now because until you see it happen, you're not really going to understand what that means. But essentially, we're adding another step before expanding, before collecting like terms, before isolating. So we want to multiply the LCD on both sides. Okay, so this is our example. Okay. X plus 3 over 8 is equal to 6. Okay, so the first thing I want you to ask yourselves is what is the LCD? So remember, that's the same term we use when we're talking about fractions, adding fractions. So in this case, it's equal to 8 because this is technically 6 over 1. Okay, and so the lowest common denominator between the two is going to be that 8. Okay? So the first step then says multiply both sides of the equation by 8. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to rewrite it the way it is. And then all we're going to do is multiply both sides by 8. So we're going to get an 8 over here and an 8 over there. And to show that we're being multiplied, we're going to add some brackets. Okay. Now you could add the brackets around the 8 over here, but because this is one big thing together, it's a lot easier to put the brackets there. Alright, that's the first step. Then we're going to go to the next step, okay? And it says we need to divide the denominator and expand the numerators. So the denominator's over here, and we want to divide it. So what we have to do is we have to say, well, 8 divided by 8 is 1. So that's what they mean by divide the denominator. We're going to cross those out, and we're going to write a 1. Alright? Now, keep in mind that there's like an imaginary line across every part of an equation, okay? Just because there's no line over here doesn't mean we're not dividing these 8s. So 8 divided by 8 is 1, that's how we're doing it. Over here is just a 1 on the bottom, and we can't divide 8 by 1, it's just 8, so we don't have to do anything on this side. Okay, so for now, hang with me. 8 divided by 8 is 1. Now we're going to expand the numerator. So what we're going to do is we're going to write out the top. Now because this is just a 1 there, this has gone away. So all we have is x plus 3 is equal to 48. Okay, and then all we have to do now is just solve. So let's go back here. So to isolate and solve, we're just going to get this x is equal to 45. Okay, because we brought the 3 over. So again, multiply both sides by the common denominator, divide. 8 divided by 8 is equal to 1, and then we just expanded out the whole top, and there's nothing else left here, so we just had x plus 3 is equal to 48, and we did it like that. Okay? Alright, in this example, again, we're looking for the LCD first. Okay, so between this 3 and this imaginary 1 there, our LCD is going to be 3. Okay? So the first step says let's multiply both sides by 3. So we write down the 3 with this part of the fraction in brackets. Okay. First step is to multiply both sides by the LCD, right? So we're going to do that. 3 times this side, 3 times this side. Alright. The next step is to divide the denominator and expand the numerator. So the denominator over here is 3. We don't have a denominator on that side. So if we divide the denominator, we can do 3 divided by 3, and that's just going to give us 1 again. Now we're going to expand the numerator. So we're going to get x minus 7 is equal to negative 15. Okay. This to isolate the variable, so you can see I just brought that 7 over to become positive, and I got x is equal to negative 8. Please pause the video now and try out B. See if you can do this or not. Here's the answer for B. So LCD is 5. We multiply both sides by 5. Divide the denominators. So we get a 1 expand out, 4x minus 1 is equal to 35, and then just isolate for x is equal to 9. If you have a problem with that, go back and just review the first example again, okay? The next example, I'm going to start off here. So LCD is 6 because we've got a 6 at the bottom here and an imaginary 1 underneath here. So all I did was I rewrote this entire equation, but I multiplied both sides by 6. That's where that came from. Now the rule says we need to divide the denominator. So the denominator over here is 6. So I'm going to cross out the 6 on the top and the bottom because we get a 1. Okay, and the other side doesn't have a denominator, so we're fine. And then you just expand out. So this we can write out again. Okay, so we haven't done anything. So this part is just written out the same way, and then we multiplied 6 times negative 1 is negative 6. And then we see distributive properties. So we're using rules from yesterday. So 2n plus 8 is equal to negative 6. We're going to bring that 8 over. We get a negative 14 there. And that means that if we divide both sides by 2, we're going to get n is equal to negative 7. Okay? So I'm going to breeze through this other part. I'm going to focus more on the fractions because you should be comfortable with this part by now. And if you're not, that's a clue to go watch some of the other videos again. Alright, over here I'm just showing you that this is written a little bit differently, but it means the same thing as this. So this 3 over 4 is the same thing as if we did 3m plus 2 divided by 4 equals 9. And the LCD is still 4. So pause for a second if you need to, if you can't see that. I'm going to show you this like imaginary line. So hold on, we're going to multiply both sides by 4. Okay, same thing. And now look at this imaginary lines. Okay, we're going to divide that out. I think I draw it for you somewhere. Yeah, here. So imagine there's this line here, this division line, right? Anything under here, if there's nothing, it's always a 1. But this line kind of separates all the things that are being multiplied on the top and all the things that are being multiplied on the bottom. So even though this 4 is a little bit shifted over from over here, it's almost like this line extends the whole way. Because if it did, it would look exactly like this. So if you need to think about it like that, do that. Because that's also the reason why we can do 4 divided by 4. If we had just a fraction that had 4 over 4, we would say it was 1, no problem. But even though it's like a little off here, that kind of imaginary line tells us we can divide those numbers. Okay, so we've now simplified this part. We need to expand. So 3m plus 6 is equal to 36. Okay, because we did distributive property. Now this is gone. That's a 1. And then again, we just rearrange. So we get 30 because I brought the negative 6 over. And so m is equal to 10. Okay, I'm skipping some steps here because, again, you should know this part pretty well. I don't want to bore you. Okay, well, the LCD is 12 because we can't do anything else. These numbers don't fit into anything other than 12. So we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to multiply both sides of the equation by 12. But now, instead of having a situation where we had like the 4 over 4, when we divide the denominators, it's going to be a little different. So 12 divided by 3 is 4. And 12 divided by 4 is 3. So watch what happens. We're going to get that to be, we're going to cross it out, but we're going to write a 4 instead. 12 divided by 3 is 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3. Okay, I've written it out for you over there. So now we're going to get 4 times 5w minus 4 is equal to 3 times 4w plus 8. It doesn't just go away anymore because now there's a number there. It didn't just equal a 1. Okay, that's the only part that went away, but this 4 and everything else stayed. Now we can expand, okay? These are the parts we're going to expand. So we're going to use distributive property, and we're going to get 20w here minus 16, I'm doing 4 times negative 4, is equal to 12w plus 24. And then all I need to do is expand, so you guys can try that out, and you should end up with w is equal to 5. I want you to try the next example by yourself. It's the same as this one, and see if you can get it. Yeah, so pause now. Okay, I'm going to show you the example here. So, oops. you should end up with negative 22 over 19. Okay, so pause this and follow that steps. Make sure yours looks like that, or try to follow, and if you don't understand, go back to E and then come back to F after. We've got a couple more examples. So here our LCD is 6, because again, this is the same thing as writing n plus 6 over 2 over here. And this is the same thing as writing 2 times 4 minus n over, all over 3. So our LCD is 6. We're going to multiply both sides by 6, and I'm writing it out exactly like it's written here, other than those 6's. Okay, this is just showing you how the stuff in the green hasn't changed and the stuff in the blue hasn't changed. It's just the entire thing here has been multiplied by 6, and the entire thing here has been multiplied by 6. Now we're going to expand out. So this 6 and the 2 are going to get divided. So that's why I'm crossing it out, because I'm replacing the 6 over 2 with a 3, because it means the same thing. The same way, 6 over 3 is the same thing as just writing a 2. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So now we're going to expand out. So we have this 3 times 1 is just 3. So 3n plus 6. Okay, remember this imaginary line. Over here, we've got a number here. This isn't a 1. So all we need to do is, first I'm just going to write it out in the same way. And in order to do that, we can distribute this first. Okay, it would work. But it's easier to just multiply these numbers first. It's all multiplication. This is multiplication, and this is technically multiplication to this whole bracket. So it's up to you the order you want to use. But it's going to be the same thing. So I would recommend just making this a 4 first. So this side should expand as normal, 3n plus 18. On the other side, we're going to get a 4 times 4 minus n. And then we can use distributive property. Okay, so we're going to get a 4. And then in the next line, I'm going to leave these because I can't collect those like terms yet. I'm going to get 16 minus 4n, and then I can collect like terms. Okay, so 3n plus 4n, 16 minus 18. I'm going to get 7n is equal to negative 2. So n is equal to negative 2 over 7. I'm going to talk you through this next example. So our LCD is 12. 6 times 4 is 24, but both of those numbers fit into 12. So that's why we talk about a lowest common denominator. So LCD is 12. 24 would work. It would just make all your numbers a lot bigger. So then we multiply both sides. So we have this 12 here and this 12 over here. And then what you're seeing is that I cross these out because 12 divided by 4 is 3. And twice. So 12 divided by 6 is 2. You can't really see the 1 there, but that was 12. So then what happens is we multiply these numbers. So what's left is this 3 and this 2. So that's where this 6 comes from. That's where this 10 comes from. Again, go back to the previous example if you need to see how that works. And then we're just expanding out. So I'm going to let you look at that yourself because it's really the same thing. Alright, so last example. This one's a little more challenging, but I want you to be able to do it. You should be able to do it, okay? So the LCD here is 4. And the reason for that is because our fractions have denominators of 2, 4, and 2. The lowest common denominator of those is 4. So don't freak out that you see 3 terms here. That's okay. All we have to do is the same thing. It's going to be the exact same process. So we're going to multiply every single thing by 4. And the reason why we're doing that is because we can't change the equation, right? Anytime we do something to one part of the equation, we do it to all. And that's because we don't want to change the question. So I'm multiplying this side by 4, this side by 4, and this side by 4, right? And then we're going to divide the denominators. And, oh yeah, that negative. So notice how that negative there is still here. Because even though we multiplied this x over 4 times 4, it's 4 times negative x over 4. So that is going to keep the negative there. Okay, this is positive, this 4, LCD, and this is negative, so we have to keep that negative there. Alright? Now what we're going to do is we're going to divide out. So we're going to get a 2 over here, a 1 over here, and a 2 over there. Okay? We're going to expand out, so we're going to have 2 times 3x plus 4. We're technically not expanding it, we're just adding that step in. Minus x, because this is a 1, so it's minus 1x, which is just the same as minus x, is equal to 2 times negative 1. Okay? So you can look at the rest of this. So make sure you get the right answer past that point. It's really this step that's the hard one. And here's your homework, same as always. Please come with questions, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.